Rail fanning is not a predictable hobby. The railroads don't exactly run their trains for the convenience of the rail fans trackside. It's because of this that you can sit outside trackside for hours, and you might only see one train. Sometimes, however, the stars align, and you'll get to see train after train after train. I'd like to showcase one instance of this from February of 2024 on the Norfolk Southern Cleveland line, where nearly every train that came by was interesting. So sit back and relax as we take a look at this one great day trackside. The first train of the day, and we're already starting off strong. A westbound manifest with an SD70 ACE leader and a Wells Fargo SD70 Mac trailing second. These locomotives were formerly BNSF units that are now owned by Wells Fargo's locomotive leasing department, who leases these locomotives to railroads who need power. In this case, Norfolk Southern has been going through a power shortage as of late, so these engines are filling in. My main motivation for coming out this early on kind of a dreary day was the Central Railroad of New Jersey Heritage Unit, NS 1071. She was trailing second out on an intermodal today. The engine had been back and forth on intermodal trains through town, but unfortunately they were either came through when I had class or in the middle of the night. And finally I would get my chance to catch it in daylight pretty soon. And there she was, NS 1071, the Central Railroad of New Jersey Heritage Unit, in striking orange and blue. This was my first time seeing the CNJ, and I was very happy to have another Heritage Unit crossed off the list. This locomotive was one of 10 SD70 ACE Heritage Units painted back in 2012 by Progress Rail. And from what I understand, they didn't do the best job on these units, as they were rushed into production to meet Norfolk Southern's deadline. Unfortunately, that means the paint on a lot of these units has started to fade. In the case of the Central New Jersey Heritage Unit, the locomotive's road name and road number have basically fallen away. The CNJ Heritage Unit was not the only surprise on this train. There was also a mid-DPU and a Hub Group 50th anniversary shipping container. Pretty neat. Here's a better look at that CNJ Heritage Unit, and as you can tell, it has faded away pretty badly. Hope she gets a repaint soon. After the CNJ passed, we had yet another westbound, this time tank load rolling west, with a KCS AC-44 second out as foreign power. Of all the foreign power, KCS has proven to be one of the rarer ones to see out here, so this was a treat. Yet another westbound, this time intermodal containers, mostly international ones. This was probably the most typical train of the day. A pretty standard DC GVO leader and a increasingly rare Dash 9 trailer. Still neat. Short intermodal trains like this one are usually pretty typical. The next train was anything but. That train proved to be an eastbound ballast train with an SD70 ICC leader. This is one of those instances where the load behind the locomotive is just as interesting as the locomotive itself. These odd-shaped hoppers are meant to spread ballast along the right-of-way. The lead locomotive on this train was NS 1251, one of only two SD70 ICCs in the fleet. These locomotives were rebuilt by Progress Rail from old SD70 M-2s and equipped with new AC traction motors. I caught sister engine 1250 on the power move at the head end of an intermodal a few months prior. So now I've seen the whole fleet of them. This next train was an eastbound manifest, and it gives us a glimpse into the history of that ICC unit we just saw. Trailing second on this manifest was one of the SD70 M-2s, the same class that was eventually rebuilt into the SD70 ICCs. Norfolk Southern is the second largest operator of the SD70 M-2 behind Canadian National. Most of the NS fleet has been put into storage or sold off. However, there's still a handful roaming the system today. But their numbers are dwindling, so catch them while you can. A heritage unit, foreign power, odd rebuilds, and a ballast train? Well, what could be better than that? Well, this next train was about to best those. And have a look at that. Trailing fourth out, dead in tow on this eastbound intermodal was NS 6702, a GP33 Eco. These locomotives are rebuilt from older GP models and are used in big cities such as Chicago and Atlanta. These engines burn cleaner and produce fewer emissions, allowing the air in these cities to be a little cleaner. This engine was dead in tow, probably heading to maintenance somewhere, most likely Altoona. However, its green paint scheme was very striking. Certainly a pleasure to see. Being a busy mainline, road switchers like these in general are a pretty rare sight. But to see an eco unit, well, that was pretty awesome. After basking in its green paint for a little while longer, I decided to pack up my things and head home. Super satisfied with what I saw that day. And that's going to be a wrap on the train traffic from this day. This was a particularly great day as nearly everything has something interesting on it, whether with an interesting locomotive or interesting rolling stock or both. Thank you all for sticking around and checking out this amazing train action with me. I hope you guys enjoyed it, as I sure as hell did. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy it, feel free to leave a dislike. Or if you've got something to say, leave a comment if you're so inclined. If you want to see more train action, shoot me a subscription, as there's plenty more coming. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Have a good one and see you around.